John. Today, we are sinking our teeth into the Toronto Maple Leafs. And when a lot of people look at the Leafs, think of the Leafs, or talk about the Leafs, they always talk about the core four and the skill and how the Leafs are too soft to go on deep playoff runs. But is there maybe a grittier aspect of their game coming to the surface as of late?
Well, as Gavin puts up just the basic numbers this year, would you be shocked if I told you that this team, who is not known for being the most physical team, that since the All-Star break, they are number 2 in the NHL for hits, total hits, and hits per 60 minutes. I don't think anybody would even take a guess to say that all of a sudden they are more physical. And yeah, Ryan Reeves gets his bumps, but to be fair, and I'm far enough away from him so he can't reach me, but he can't catch a lot of the hits that he wants to put on there. It's the contribution from others. And then you would think maybe it's Bertuzzi. No, it goes down the line and it's spread out right across the 20-man roster that they're dressing on a nightly basis, and they're just getting more physical. So let's fire up some clips. And it's not about rocking a guy, killing a guy, but it's just these bumps that create offensive opportunities in the O-zone. It's created more opportunities off the forecheck. And it's been guys like a Bobby McMahon who's got 12 goals since the All-Star break. 12. So their offense, even though Mitch Marner's missed the last 11 games, their offense has now had no choice but to spread out. And you see Austin Matthews gets out there with different line mates. But then you got a guy like Matthew Knies. He just leans on guys. He moves his feet and he bumps guys. And when in doubt, you've added a lot of that sandpaper with a Jake McCabe on the back end when he's keeping it clean, or even Joel Edmondson. Now you got Timothy Liljegren throwing the weight around. And when they do this, and you'll see on the Edmondson hit, is they seal off one side of the ice, one quick pass, and 2 or 3 of those examples led to clean breakouts. But the other part is at the other end, it's leading to more opportunities off the forecheck.
So that's been the big knock against this team, John, has been the physicality is just one part of it, but that they don't play a pure playoff style or a game that doesn't necessarily translate to playoff style hockey. When you take a deep dive at their game through their game on tape, what adjustments have they made at 5-on-5 that you've seen that might, allow them to better adjust to the postseason?
Well, before we get into the sexy offensive aspect, it's the defending. All of a sudden now they've crept into being one of the better teams at shutting down the entry against. So they haven't reduced necessarily the goals against off of entries yet. It is coming way down, but the shots on net and the chances on net from entries have vastly dropped. But the other part is the dump-in rate against, which means they've got to be putting on a certain amount of pressure with the right amount of support to force teams to dump it. And then guess what? Because they're doing it so well and they're playing as more of a connected unit, they're recovering pucks and going the other way as quickly as possible. So let's fire up some of the clips of how quickly they are shutting down, reloading against rushes against. John Tavares, known for his defensive play. Ds are playing tight together. And on the weak side, that weak side forward is in charge of the weak side lane. Here, they're able to press 2. They gap up. Lyubushkin, he gaps up. It's a great gap. He's got support underneath. He's got support to the inside. Play is dead. Lyubushkin, again, he's going to just shift over and deny the tape-to-tape pass. Riley communicates. And look how quickly they transition because they're a connected group. It's not 3 forwards at one end, 2 at the other. It's 5 guys defending together. Again, good step up. Weak side lane belongs to Noah Gregor. It goes off his skates. It's up the ice. It's possession. Now you got a set breakout from Edmonton. You got a lot of speed. They get into their 1-1-3. They're closing and they're more aggressive. They surf. Matthews recovers. And look how quickly they transition. You don't see toe drags and 9 million stick handles here. It's get it, move it. And again, when you know you have that support, Lyubushkin's going to come across, simple bump, it's up the ice. Again, quick transition. You want to be a transition team, well, you need to defend. And that takes sometimes early gaps and things you're going to do up the ice to force teams. And then TJ Brodie, I know he's been a disappointment for some, but he's still a very, very smart defenseman. He hides his stick. He then takes away that passing lane, and then all of a sudden transition again. And it's fueling their ability to play more of a half-court game than have to play the full 200 feet.
So when you look at those previous two things we just hit on, is it having a negative impact on their, I mean, quite frankly, their bread and butter, their ability to score?
Well, it's actually, I think, making them more offensively diversified. I like to use that term often because there are teams that have one way to score. And I think Toronto has been so known for their possession on entries, but it's bitten them in the ass over the last few playoffs. They've had a higher turnover rate that has led to more goals off the rush against, because if you're turning it over at the offensive blue line, well, guess what? You got 4 or 5 guys going north, one turnover, it's an on-man rush. So now all of a sudden their puck possession and their puck decisions have become more playoff ready. The place and chase element, the puck management, and underhandling pucks at time and embracing the forecheck. So let's fire up those clips. And as we roll out of our segment, you're going to see that they are offensively diversified and there are more players getting involved. And it starts with a young guy, Matthew Knies. He does a great job defensively, doesn't cheat. Boom. He sends Robertson on the rush. TJ Brodie, no stick handle. Domi, no stick handle. 2 passes. Bang, you hit the stretch guy. And Bertuzzi, who had a very slow start, now has 13 goals in his last 26 games since the All-Star break. Again, offense being spread out. Again, a very similar clip we saw earlier. Lyubushkin, boom, eliminates his man. Brodie recovers. They go back D to D. It's up the ice and give it to the guy who's going to potentially push for 70 goals in Matthews. Place and chase. You got Matthews on the ice, but still, place and chase. He embraces, he gets involved. Watch the weak side. Aaron Ekblad sleeping at the switch on this play. His stick is up. Bertuzzi's right there, and it's a tap in. So their zone time has actually gone down a little bit, but I think it's because of quick strike mentality. Chip, chip. Simple. You teach young kids to do this. Chip, chip. All of a sudden, you're on their side of the red line. Steal a puck, get below, trapezoid goal, and Matthew Knies, who was the first forward to chip it, beats his coverage up ice, and he's right down the pipe for a tap-in. Watch. Nylander. Oh, no, he's going to turn it over. He's going to overhandle. Nope. Place and chase. Liljegren. Poke the puck. Keep it alive. Bobby McMahon, who's also contributed in a big way, 12 goals in his last 27 games. Again, Lyubushkin, put the puck deep. Live to fight another day. Poise to place. Don't rush to an area. And Nylander's right in that high pocket. And we'll end it on this one. Domi. What's he going to bring? Well, his net presence. Watch him get lost in coverage. He's moving. Trapezoid goal. One of my favorite. And he just gets lost in coverage. There's a lot of movement. It creates a lot of confusion. Gets his own rebound. And he buries it. There's not one way that they can score right now. And they've surprised me because I have felt that many times if they don't feel their offensive mojo going, it really stumps them. The one area I want everybody to focus when you're watching Toronto Maple Leafs, since the trade deadline, they are 32nd in the league on the power play at 8.6%. It's a big, big downward spiral right now for their power play, and they got to figure it out without Mitch Marner.
We'll see if they can get it pieced together. Marner coming back would obviously help. That is a wrap on this week's edition of the Coach's Room. Thanks, John.
Have a good one.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.